Hello everybody, this is Terry Jeanette with Be Creative, and today we are going to make some doll jewelry. So over the Christmas holidays, my 18-inch girls have been wearing these as necklaces, and they're little bracelets that fit me. This one I wired. Today though, we're going to make a necklace that's a little bit longer. These actually are more like chokers. And I believe Smart Dolls, these are really good length for a little bit longer necklace. But today we're making a necklace for an 18-inch doll. And I want to do the Mardi Gras thing. So we're going to have the colors of purple, green, and gold or yellow. In addition to my beads, I'm going to go ahead and get my wire out. I'm going to use two kinds of wire. I have this aluminum craft wire in gold tone. It's 20 gauge, and it's a very, very soft wire. And I will use it to wire my beads up with. The reason I'm using it is because it is very soft and easy to work with. But we're actually going to make some forms like this. I made this bracelet for me about a week or so ago. I've been delving into the world of wire jewelry, and I have actually absolutely loved it. But we're going to make these forms right here. For this bracelet, I used 18 gauge, but I don't have 18 gauge gold, so I'm going to be using 20 gauge gold tone. It's copper wire, and it is a lot stiffer. I think they call this half hard. But we're going to be making these little forms, possibly some jump rings, and possibly this little shepherd's hook here for a clasp. And basically what we're going to do is replicate this necklace or this bracelet, but we're going to make it longer to be a necklace for an 18-inch doll. And I actually did something very similar to this for a necklace for a friend of mine, and I'll try to leave a picture or a little video of it here. All right, let's get to making this. I got all my beads. I'm not going to need that many, but we're going to start out with making the links. And I'm not really for sure how many I'm going to need. At first I thought I would just use one bead, but I think I'm actually going to use all three colors here. The Mardi Gras colors. And I think I'm going to put them like this because they look better that way. And so I've got them on there. And then I'm just going to make a loop. Now, I did another video. It's not posted yet, but it was going to post on the 14th. It's a collaboration I'm doing with my sister and Starch and Stitches and Cherish Dolls. The four of us are doing a Valentine collab with some of our 18-inch dolls, and I made a Valentine necklace using this same technique, except I did not make these wire forms. I just only made a bunch of links, and in that necklace I did not use jump rings. This necklace I'm going to use jump rings, so I'm going to go ahead and make a bunch of these links. If I wasn't using jump rings and I wanted to put the links together, I would have to put them together before I got them wired like this. But like I said, I addressed that in my video that's coming up, so watch for that. Whenever you work with wire, you want to make sure things are tucked in, because if you don't, they are actually going to scratch you or your doll, whoever's wearing it. But I'm going to make a bunch of these, and so So let me scooch this aside. In the meantime, I'm going to show you how to make these little circles here. And I am going to use this, which is a 6-step pliers. And whenever you're working with wire, these things come in really handy because they straighten your wire out very nicely. All right, I'm going to make sure that we don't have a point on there. And it's all how you use your flush cutters. You want to, okay, see how that is? I'm just going to clip the very tip of that, and it's flat, okay? And I wanted this to be flat. Now I'm going to start out, I'm going to use the littlest one. Now, these are new, and I did not spend a lot of money on these. And let me just say this. You know, the old saying, you get what you pay for. That's kind of like with these. There's a lip here. Hopefully, it's going to eventually wear off. But I have a hard time getting my wire off of my part here because there is a lip there. So anyway, make sure that that's not sticking up. It's just flat. And then you're just going to turn to make a P. Oh, that came off pretty good there. Then I have a hard time getting it back on there. But anyway, you don't want a gap there. And I may have to tweak that a little bit as I go. I think it's flat there. Okay. So the next part I'm going to use is the big part. And I'll put my wire like this. And then I'm just going to spin it around. And then I'm going to wrap. And I want to trim, but make sure you're not going to trim the circle part of the wire. You just want to trim this part off. So be really careful. Let's see. Get in there. There we go. Now, see that's sticking out. So you want to make sure that that is not going to poke. All right, I feel it a little bit, not much. Just get in there and squeeze that. Okay. All right, much better. And so we have this and that. So those are the two components so far. Now I'm going to show you how to make jump rings. These are the 3 components. Actually, there'll be 4 components because I have to teach you how to make that too. But right now, let's do jump rings. Again, I'm going to use the 20 gauge wire. And you can use, let's see, you can use these, but I have something, what did I do with it? I think it's in my travel case here. Just got back from someplace and the stuff was all packed up. Yeah, here they are. These are really cool to use for jump rings. Let me see. Do I want them that big? Yeah. Sometimes I want them little, so I would use, or sometimes you may want them bigger, but this is the size I want my jump rings. Again, I want to make sure that's flush cut. And then I'm just going to start turning. I'm going to need several jump rings. So I'm just going to make several spirals here. Now you could do this with your round nose pliers, but you see how they're tapered? So in order to get an even consistency, you need to get something that's evenly consistent. Whoops. Okay. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop it here. I can always make more if I need to, but I'm going to kind of come around. See where I started there? I'm going to come around till I'm about in that same area. And I'm going to notice how I've got my pliers turned. And I'm going to cut. And these are going to be a bunch of jump rings. So that's flush cut fine. And this one should be fine on both ends. Sometimes I do like to take a file they have these new files I would like to get that's it's like a pen. I want to get one of those, but I don't have one. That's still a little pointy. I don't want it pointy. All right. And you don't have to make your jump rings. You can buy them. But if you want to if you want to do your own jump rings, this is how you do it. And then I'm just going to scooch that because you don't want a gaposis. Like I said, I'm still learning to make these. So they are not perfect by all means. All right, there is my jump ring. Ooh, that looks terrible. Anyway, I'm going to make a bunch more of these, a bunch more of these, and a bunch more of these. And then I'll come back, we'll put them together, and then I'll show you how to make a little shepherd's hook clasp. So I think I pretty much have this done. All we need to do is a clasp. Right now, this is about a little bit over 9 inches. By the time I get the clasp and that last jump ring on, it may be 11 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use my 20 gauge half hard wire here. And let's see, let me get my wire cutters. I want to make sure that's flush cut. And then I am going to use, what am I going to do? Let's see. There they are. Couldn't find them. All right, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use my round nose pliers to start out with because I want just a little bitty loop here. So I kind of made that P again. And then I'm going to make this next part with, I think this one right here. And I'm just going to pretty much do what I did with those loops, except for not go all the way around. I'm going to go to about right there, and then I'm just going to pinch in a little bit. You know what? I think I'm going to go down a little bit smaller. One thing with doll jewelry, you do need to size down. So we'll just make this a little bit smaller. Now, that'll be better. Much, much better. All right, I am going to clip this down here because we're going to make another loop. And I think I'm going to hammer this a little bit. You do not have to do this, but I like to hammer it because it will stiffen it. Where'd my hammer go? If it was any closer to me, it would have knocked me on top of the head. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to just tap, 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 tap. Because this strengthens the wire. toughs it up a little bit. All right. Then I'm going to take my round nose pliers and I'm going to try to figure out what I want to do here. I think I'm going to cut a little bit more. Thinking this out. How? Yeah, just a little bit more. Okay. And then I'm going to make a loop. Like that. All right. I don't know if you hear the kids in the background, but they are having a ball. I don't know what they're doing. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to make sure that everything is closed in. You don't want any openings because that's how your jewelry could get lost, falling off your neck or whatever. So I'm going to go ahead and I opened up my jump ring. I'm going to put one side on. I'm going to put this on like this. And I'm going to use 2 pliers to close it up. And then we're done. Let's see how long this is. It's about 10 inches. And see, this can hook into the loop like that. I'm going to squeeze that a little bit tighter. And there we go. You know, that could almost be an anklet. About 10 inches is what an anklet is. Not for sure I would use this type of clasp on an anklet. But for a doll necklace or even a human necklace, and I have had success with bracelets too. I've worn these before and they have not fallen off. Well, let me go put this on my doll and we'll see what it looks like. Oh yeah, she looks good in that. So we have this little purple and white skirt that my sister over at Peacecraft Dolls made. She also made this top. This doll came with purple shoes. This is Julie. She's an American Girl doll. And then I love the way this necklace turned out. Too bad she doesn't have pierced ears because I'd make her some earrings. But I don't want to pierce her ears and we'll just leave her be like that. I could make her a little bracelet to go along with her outfit, but she is all decked out for Mardi Gras. And here she is hanging out with some of her other friends that are also ready for Mardi Gras. We live in Louisiana, so Mardi Gras is a pretty big deal around here. Don't forget to look out for the video coming up with the 18-inch collaboration challenge of Valentine's Day. That's actually coming out on the 14th of February. I want to thank y'all for joining me, and y'all have a great day. This is Terry Jeanette with Be Creative, signing out for now. Bye-bye.